It's time again for Astronomy Daily Live. It's 2 hours UTC. And here we are again, gathering together, this circle of friends, to spend a little bit of time each and every day just talking about all things astronomical. So, hey, welcome everybody who is coming in live. Nice to see you there. And welcome and howdy to those who are watching later. I know that there are at least a few who do. So, thanks for coming in. It's very, very awesome. And yeah, just each and every day we come together at this time and we turn off the TV, we forget about the news, and we focus our attention on the universe and using the tool of astronomy, the science of astronomy, to try to understand it and not necessarily to know anything or to learn anything, but just to appreciate it. Because with understanding comes a depth that you usually don't have with things that you don't understand. So with some understanding, you can, and I find, that I greatly appreciate things a lot more when I have an understanding of things. So when I go out under the night sky and it's nice and clear, and I look out into the universe and realize that I'm looking out to who knows where, right? As far as things can be seen. Those photons of light are actually coming into this eye and being registered. Now, some of those photons of light are few and far between, right? Because they started at a source, and at least according to the mathematicians and physicists, that light spreads out in sort of a geometrical way, right? And as it spreads, it becomes more and more diffuse. And so if it spreads for a very, very long distance, then that light gets just more and more and more diffuse. Now, there's a lot of other things going on too, but the fact of the matter is that when you look out into the night sky, you are looking as far into the universe as is possible. You don't need a telescope to look very, very, very far away. You're seeing it. Now, a telescope helps, right? Because instead of being, at best, maybe 1 centimeter in diameter, the aperture of like a fully very, very dilated pupil, right, is only about 1 centimeter. That is what, point 0, is it? Yeah, 0.01 meters. Is it 0.01 or 0.1 is a centimeter? A centimeter is 10 millimeters. 10 millimeters. Yeah, 0.01 meters, right? So what we can do is we can use instruments like this, right, which is roughly 20 times that diameter, and actually what that would be 400 times the area, right? 400 times the area. Well, that's 400 times more light that this thing can see. This thing behind me here, right? As opposed to what that thing can see. So it has a better chance of grabbing those photons. And what we say is, right, is that we can see fainter things, just less light, right? All the light is there all the time. It's just that, for things that are further away or just intrinsically not as bright as other things, there are just fewer photons that are going to be going into either this or into that. But that has a better chance of grabbing a few of those and focusing them in and concentrating all of those. So when they go into this eye, it actually sees all of those photons and not just these. So see, a lot of, as I said, a lot of what astronomy provides me is sort of a perspective, a different kind of a perspective, and I get that perspective with knowledge, and I obtain that knowledge by using the tools of science, and specifically the science of astronomy, which is the study of all things sort of out there. So come on in, everybody. Nice to see you in the chat. A clear sky definitely helps. Definitely helps. So yeah, as soon as you possibly can, Atta, I am sure that you will be on it. And at this point, don't worry if there's a moon out or anything. Having a bright moon in a dark sky sort of makes that dark sky not so dark, right? It brightens it up a little bit, but don't worry about that too much. Don't worry about that too much. So cheers. I've got the hydrogen hydroxide again tonight. A wonderful, wonderful, amazing chemical that seems to sort of be everywhere, right? They're finding this stuff everywhere. So very, very cool. So cheers. And yes, Atta, especially, regardless of what's going on around you, right? If it's clear, get out, right? So skip the live streams, skip the TV, skip everything, get out there. I know that you've got a new telescope, so you're sort of still going through what's that called with newlyweds, right? I forget that term, but it's new and exciting, and you are chomping at the bits to get out there, because I know that you've had just clouds and clouds and clouds and clouds and clouds. So yeah, honeymoon, yeah. So you're probably definitely still in your honeymoon period, and for lack of a better term, you're really, really wanting to get at it, right? So yeah, and I don't blame you a bit. You've got a great instrument there, and it looks like you're really, really decked out. So that is extremely exciting, and yeah, just as I said, and I'll tell this, to um, um, everyone here, be patient with yourself. Go at a pace. Go at your pace. Don't necessarily think that you have to hurry, or anything. Learn at your own speed. Be very, very, very patient. Very, very patient. Hey there, Daniel. Nice to see you in the chat. Thanks for coming by, all the way from Australia. So Very, very cool. I think it's let's see, it's I think I ask you this almost every time. It's about noon there, noon on Monday the 20th, 21st, 20th. I think it's the 20th. Yeah. Um, yeah. Well, wind is a problem for telescopes for sure because the wind will move it around and jostle the image around. So once you get into taking images and or collecting data, um, wind will definitely be a problem. Now, oh, I hate to use that term, but what sort of serious amateurs do, um, and of course you see it with all of the professional observatories too, is that these telescopes are put inside of some kind of enclosure, some kind of dome, or some kind of something, right? And that is primarily to keep the wind out, because the wind is a killer, right? So even walking around your telescope, you'll notice that you know like if you're looking through the telescope and somebody else is walking around, you'll be able to see them walking around just by looking at the image, right? Because it'll go boom, 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 boom. So yeah, yeah, yep. Midday, very very cool. Yeah, and you know, as I said, you've got to be patient with yourself. So if you can't handle the cold, then don't do it. You're going to have to wait, right? Or make some kind of accommodation, right? However it works, um, and I'll, I mean, most amateurs will dig in, and it's like, you know what? I don't care if it's cold. I don't care if it's hot. I don't care, right? I am doing this. I mean, I remember many times being so cold, right, that my hands wouldn't work. I couldn't move them at all. And yeah, that's I mean, I was young, so those kinds of things I can sort of get away with. I probably wouldn't do that now, not to that extreme. But yeah, when you're riding that rocket, it's like it's really hard to get off, and you know if the fingers don't work right, well, you either have to make an accommodation for that, or tough it out some way. Now, back when I was doing amateur astronomy, just amateur astronomy, I would actually write down notes. Right? I mean, I would make an observation, and I would take notes, or I would do a drawing or something. And let me tell you, when you can't feel your fingers and they don't move, it's hard to take notes. It's hard to focus. So, Daniel, you are in the southern um, um, hemisphere, and so I cannot make a recommendation in terms of what season is best for you. As far as I'm concerned, any time's a good time. There are sort of, generally speaking, there are seasons, right? When when the galactic disk, when the Milky Way is visible, uh, you're you're prone, right, to see more stars, but you're also prone to see more um, um, open clusters, globular clusters, um, nebulae, right? Because those are the oh, I see why. Um, those are, you know, part of the Milky Way, and they tend to congregate in the disk of the Milky Way, right? They're not going to be off to the side or anything. Now, the only exception to that is the globular clusters, which tend to sort of form a little um, 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 they call it a halo that sort of is around the center of the galaxy, but can extend pretty far out. In fact, in a previous live stream, we looked at a globular cluster that was about as far, I think, as I recall, it was about as far away from the center of the galaxy as we are. I think it was something like 27,000 light years away or so. Um, uh, so yeah, um, Atta, your equipment actually loves the cold. Now, what it doesn't like is the humidity, right? The humidity is going to be problematic, um, most likely at some point. You know, your optics will fog up, your eyepieces will fog up. You know, even when it's cold out, right? You have to be mindful of where you're breathing, because your breath will fog up the eyepiece, and then it's like, whoops. So yeah, layer up, get some gloves. I used to have um, gloves with batteries that had little heaters on them. Didn't really work all that well, but that was 30 years ago. So you know, maybe things have improved a little bit since then. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, a dew shield will help. Oftentimes, uh, um, in the real cold and the real humid, you can actually get, and I forget what exactly it's called, but it's a heater that you can put on the telescope, raise the temperature of the optics a little bit, and keep the humidity off. Um, so yeah, you know, all kinds of adventures are waiting for you, Atta. All kinds of frustrations and just all kinds of amazing experiences. You'll absolutely love it, and it sounds like you are up for the challenge. So cheers. Yeah, you know, uh, it looks like, you know, if you're going to need that, you'll be able to get it. So yeah, you know, play it by ear. Go on to Cloudy Nights and do a search for those. As I said, I forget. There's a there's a particular term um, that those things are called. You know, the heaters, but it's escaping me at the moment. So I'm not quite sure. But yeah, get on to Cloudy Nights. That's a really great resource. Uh, and um, ask around there. Yeah. So let's see. I'm just looking at the chat here. So yeah, I yeah as I said, I'm not sure in the southern hemisphere what season is best. And actually, let me get um, back to that. So when you're in the season where you can see the Milky Way, right? That's sort of cluster season, nebula season, right? And uh, that for us up in the north is sort of the summertime. So down south would be the wintertime, right? The other season we have is when the Milky Way isn't really visible, at least you know like at a convenient time, and that's sort of galaxy season because we are actually looking sort of more um, outside of our galaxy. So yeah, okay, well, cool. So you found an astronomy club, and yeah, nice. Yeah, you'll uh, I mean you'll like it a lot. The amateur scene is very active. People really like to talk about what they're doing, what their equipment is, and they really like newcomers. I mean, I, I'm sort of speaking in general terms, but you can be pretty well assured that you'll be welcomed and comfortable and everything else because um, like like here, right? Everyone is there because they have a passion and they like what they're doing, and there's all levels, right? From completely new, don't have a clue, to extremely advanced, even professional ones, right? I mean here um, over in Tucson, right? They have the um, Tucson Amateur Astronomy Association, the TAAA, and you know Tucson, Southern Arizona is a hub for astronomy. That's why I moved here, right? Was because of the astronomy, and so the TAAA has a bunch of professionals and everything else, and always great talks and everything else. So yeah, great, and yeah. So hopefully, I mean, I can't exactly guarantee it, but you're going to have a good time. You're going to have a good time, and they'll probably have some kind of a presentation, and then they'll have reports on different activities that are going on in the club, um, and it's great fun. And as a social event, it's actually really neat too. Because you have sort of the pre-meeting, and everybody's talk, right? And then the meeting, uh, and then post meeting is just talk. So yeah. I think you'll have a good time. So you're the Mrs. Santa, huh? All right. Well, cool. I know who to get a hold of now. I've got a contact. Cheers. Cool. Very cool. All right. Well, I think one of the things. Well, there were actually two things that I sort of thought about talking about tonight. One of them I was actually going to talk about last night, and we sort of ran out of time. I don't like to go too far over an hour because I do respect your time, and I try to be mindful of that. I mean, I could. I say this now, but I mean, these live streams could definitely go much, much, much longer. But why? Right? I mean, I'm doing this every single day. So you know, spread it out a little bit, enjoy, have a good time, um, and you know, do this live stream every single day for about an hour or so. Very, very cool. Very awesome. But yeah, I did want to talk about Alberio a little bit more, and in general, the I I noticed, and Uncle Bill actually noticed it too. I think he mentioned something about this over on my Discord server, which you know what, I should let me put a link. Let me put a link in the chat for that, just in case. Just in case you aren't over there yet. Let me do that really, really quick. Stand by. I'm just going to get the universal key. I mean, I think there's a link to it down in the description here too. So for those of you who are watching this later, I think it's available there. But I'm going to go ahead and link to that here as well. Let's see, invite people, and I'm going to edit invite link, no limit. Never. Generate a new link. There it is. Copy it. And whoop, and paste. Come on, you can do it. There you go. There's the universal invite there. So since I was over on the Discord, I noticed that oh, okay. So Ata did a little vote. So you would be voting better all the time. Good, 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 good. Okay, cool. I will take that into account. So yeah, Twitter is interesting. It's you know, I guess it sort of depends on how it's used and how you approach it. I don't seem to have sort of the troubles that a lot of people have, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me. So okay, cool. Yeah, I decided over on Twitter to put up a little what's that called? The man, you know, words are hard. Words are hard. Oh, a little poll. You know, just sort of asking followers what they think, how I'm doing, everything else. A little bit of feedback there. Yeah, and you know, my goal in this is to just get better and better and better, and I think that's happening to a certain extent. Yeah, you know, a lot of this is just having a little bit of patience and persistence, because a lot of success is based on luck, right? You got to be at the right place at the right time. But the third leg to success, right, is that you have to be prepared, right? So if you're at the right place at the right time, but you're not ready for it, you're going to miss it, right? So you have to be ready for it too. And each and every day, You know, I mean, um, and I think I've said this a few times already, and I'll say it again. I I was, or yeah, I was successful at this live stream on day one, right? That, I mean, what I wanted to do was that, and I did it. So I'm a success. I've already really sort of achieved my goal at just doing live streaming, talking about astronomy, and so that's how I actually measure my success. So I've done it already, and what keeps me doing this is the simple fact that for me this takes absolutely no effort whatsoever at all. So you know, I'm thinking astronomy anyway. For me, this is sort of the end of the day, so I'm winding down. Don't really want to work anymore. You know, think heavy thoughts. Um, you know, I've usually had some dinner, so you know, it's like I can relax. And what I have done for literally years and years and years and years is sat right here, and except for all this talking, which is something that I don't do. Right, I am not a big talker at all. Um, but what I've done for years and years and years and years at this time in this place, in this exact place, is do exactly what I'm doing with the live stream. I am thinking astronomical stuff. I'm looking at pictures. I'm looking at papers. I'm looking at data. I'm doing some artwork. I'm thinking all things astronomical. So for me, this is extremely easy, right? Because it's actually nothing really different than what I've been doing for years and years and years. As I said, the only exception uh, is this talking out loud thing, which is nothing more than me just sort of vocalizing what I'm thinking. And you know, for an hour or so, I can do that, no problem at all. But I mean, as soon as this live stream is done, right? It's like because it's like, and pretty funny. Um, One of the kitties here, as soon as the live stream ends and I go quiet, she starts talking. She's like, "Where have you been? There was some guy in this room that I don't recognize because he was nonstop blabbing, right? And I have no idea who that person was. But I'm glad that you're back, and I'm going to tell you all about it." So, so very, very cool. I'm going to look back on the chat here. Yeah. Daniel, I'm not really keeping track of that. I mean, I look at those numbers and things, and I think that is very, very cool. And and actually, at least what I've been told is that the number of views and actually the number of minutes watched, that's sort of the a much better measure of viewership. So but having 121, that's very, very cool. And if it was half of that, or if it was 100 times that, I'm going to say exactly the same thing. That's very, very cool. It's very, very cool. I'm glad that you all are here and like this. And, I don't think that this kind of format is for um, um, everyone, but this kind of format works with other topics, and people like Skylius over on Twitch. She is very informal. I mean, even more so than this, and she gets hundreds of viewers. Um, so I think anything is possible, and I just have to find my crowd, and there you are. There you are. Patrick Manny in the house. Yes, just a motor mouth for a whole hour every single day. Um, I I pretty much use up all of my words in this hour, and as many of you know, right, being the nerdy scientist that I am, I can actually take the transcripts, right, and I run them through a Perl script that I wrote that counts the number of words. So, and um, that script actually produces a report that tells me how many times I've said the word the, and how many times I've said the word and me and you, but it also counts the number of times that I say words like astronomy and space and science and galaxy and cluster and telescope and eyepiece, and and I like to do that from time to time, and that's another thing that I am doing right now. Right, is I am creating data for that. And actually, what I want to do, I've got a lot of data now, right? I've been doing this for I think a little over eight months, right? I started like January 14th, January 13th of this year, and it's now what, August 20th. So yeah, you've been doing this for 8 months. I've got lots and lots and lots of data, and so actually, what I want to do is I want to collect that data, do an analysis. Preliminary analysis says that I'm actually speaking about 7,500 words per live stream, which I think works out to be something like 1.5 words per second or so. So I'm actually a pretty slow speaker, which I already knew, and I actually like a little bit slower speech. It's people who talk really really fast. I don't know. It sort of goes with my thing that I don't like to hurry. So I like to be pretty laid back and just sort of speak a little slower and take my time. But yeah, I I do I do 95. I would say somewhere between 90 and 95% of my out loud words are spoken in this hour every single day. For the most part, I'm you know I'm a pretty quiet dude, right? I mean, you're gonna find in in groups, I like to listen. I definitely like to listen. I mean, I participate, yes, 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 but my thing is I like to listen. I like to hear what everybody else is saying. Yeah, that's sort of the only unusual thing about this is that I'm I'm definitely the motor mouth here. And Patrick, you can lurk all you want. You are welcome to lurk. Um, so yeah, the I'm intending this live stream to be for everyone. So if sometimes the subject matter is sort of flying way, way, way above your head, that's okay. That's one of the cool things I think about having a daily thing is that there's always, at least in my experience, there's always tomorrow. There's always a chance that tomorrow will be a little bit better. I've got I've got a little I've got a little loop problem with my microphone here. Hold on. Oh, how that happened. There we go. All right. Whew. Man. Uh. Yeah. Atta, look, I'm going to game the results right now. Astronomy, 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 and astronomy. So I just gamed the results there. But I'm looking at stats, right? I want to look at averages, and I want to look at standard deviations. I want to look at the error bars, all of that. But so yeah, this for the most part though, right? I am not really gaming at all, right? I mean, I did it there because it's just fun. Um, but yeah, for the most part, I'm not. But, because of the subject matter, right, there are going to be certain words that are going to appear more frequently in this kind of a transcript than there's going to be, the transcript talking about, Legos or something, right? So I'm kind of interested in that. And then, the other thing that can be done is I can actually take the transcripts of other sort of astronomy related podcasts and live streams and all that, and do the same kind of analysis and do a comparative analysis, right? And what I find is that the other podcasts, they say a lot more words in about the same amount of time. They're speaking about twice as fast as I am. So I think that that's kind of interesting. And the spread of words is different too. So yeah, very, very cool. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about tonight was variable stars. We were looking at Delta Librae the other day, and Delta Librae is one kind of variable star. It's called and um, and eclipsing binary star. So there's actually two stars, at least two stars. One is called the primary, and the other is called the secondary. And the secondary sort of orbits the primary. Now they're actually orbiting each other, right? They're doing this, but it's sort of easier to think about, one star going around the other one, as opposed to them both kind of, doing this. So, and it just so happens that orbit is inclined such that every single time the secondary star comes around, it actually passes, from our point of view, it passes in front of the primary star, and that will make the entire system. It'll make that thing seem to dim, right? So it'll go from sort of bright to sort of dim, and then back to sort of bright. Yeah. But there's all kinds of different variable stars, and so yeah, I just wanted to cover those really quick. Cheers, cheers to variable stars. So a really great organization is the AAVSO. And I'm going to share my screen here, and we'll go over to the AAVSO website. So this is the American Association of Variable Star Observers. And this is a pretty awesome site. Where I want to go with this just right now is actually to the well, now I'm looking for a particular thing, and of course I'm not seeing it now. So star charts, variable stars, variable star index. That's what I was looking for. So this is a index. It's a database of all the known variable stars in the sky, and it's absolutely mind-blowing, right? How many there are. So let's do this. Before we get into that, let's just look at the different types of variable stars. I know this is going to be a little bit hard to see, but we'll go through it anyway here. So there are two primary kinds of variable stars, right? Variable stars that are varying because the star itself is doing something. And then there are variable stars that are varying in brightness because something external to the star is doing something, right? So those are the extrinsic and intrinsic. So the extrinsic variable stars basically have, well, three, I guess you can say, basically two different types. The one I just talked about, where you have some kind of a binary system and the secondary star actually passes in front of the primary star, and that, of course, dims the light from the primary star being the brighter of the two. And you see a change in brightness. The other one, of course, is a star that either has like sunspots on it. Not quite sure what they mean by reflection. Not quite sure about that. Or has an odd shape, right? If it has an odd shape, as it rotates, you're going to see either more light or less light. Imagine, like an egg, right, rotating. If you look at it, sometimes it's a little bit longer than it is other times, depending on where it is in its rotation. And then you have the intrinsic variable stars, ones that are actually pulsating, and that is expanding and then contracting. So, physically getting bigger and getting smaller, getting bigger, getting smaller. When they get bigger, their brightness, is more, and when they're smaller, their brightness is less. Just because of the amount of area that we're actually seeing on the star, right? I mean, a bigger star is probably going to look brighter than a smaller star. And so if these stars are getting big and then small, big and then small, big and then small, they are going to appear to vary in brightness. for sure. So eruptive stars. So, these are stars that, from time to time eject material from their surfaces. Our sun does that to a lesser extent than these. And then, of course, we have cataclysmic events like explosions, supernovae, just plain old novae too. So yeah, all different kinds of variable stars. And so what these guys have done, and of course there are different types of eclipsing variable stars. There are different kinds of rotating variable stars. You can see them all here. They all have little designations. There are types, there are subtypes, different kinds of pulsating stars. Just on, just on and on and on. We humans, we love to catalog things. So here you go. This is variable star types to the extreme. Tons and tons and tons of different kinds of variable stars. Just on and on and on and on. Right? Just amazing. So yeah, you can read all about these. I'm of course not gonna even attempt to go through all of these, but in sort of a broad sense, right? I mean, there are variable stars, but there are so many different kinds. It's just absolutely mind blowing. The variety that we see when we look out, right? Just an amazing variety of just variable stars. And these are just variable stars, right? We're not talking about galaxies and clusters and nebulae and all that. We're just talking about variable stars. And I mean, how many different kinds of variable stars are there in this list? I mean, there's got to be at least 100 here, right? Amazing. Amazing. Let me catch up on the chat really quick. Astronomia, yeah, I would definitely like to check out your channel. I'm going to go there right now. Astronomy Everywhere. Very cool. You've got more subscribers than I do. All right. Cool. I will. I'll have to check you out. I hope that there are subtitles, because I'm not quite sure what language that is, but I'm guessing that you're probably speaking in that language as well. So hopefully there's subtitles. But yeah, everybody. Check that out if you so desire. I'm always wanting to highlight other YouTube channels, Twitch channels, whatever they are, as long as they deal with astronomy. I think it's great. There is room for all. It's a big universe, right? And so I can't imagine having to compete or anything. That's just ridiculous, because there's just so much. So very, very cool. Well, check out Astronomy Everywhere. I'm going to subscribe right now, so you're seeing me do it. There it is. I'm going to set my notifications too. Very cool. So yeah. Whenever you post, I will see them. As I said, I just hope that there's like some English subtitles because that's the only way that I'm probably going to be able to understand what you're talking about. But yeah, definitely want to check you out. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. One of the most unintuitive things about them. Yeah, it's there are a few things in astronomy that don't make intuitive sense. It sort of seems backwards, right? And like the magnitude scale is the same kind of thing, right? The brighter the object, the smaller the number, and yeah, that's just that's one of the things that you're gonna have to wrap your head around, and yeah, you'll get used to it, no problem. Yeah, well, Patrick, there are giant blue stars as well. So yeah, it just depends on how much stuff they have, and their age, I mean, there's more to it, than just temperature is governed by quite a few things. But so size, yeah, sometimes, but there are blue giant stars as well. So okay, well, cool, Patrick Manny, mvas.org. Let's go over there too, MVAS. Since we're doing that, Miami Valley Astronomical Society. Cool. Nice. They got a sky cam. Okay. Let's see, is it live? Waiting for it. No. Don't see anything. Don't see anything. All right, well, cool. All right, let's get back to variable stars. So you can search here by name or by constellation. And what I was doing the other day was I was looking at things in the constellation of Libra. And let's just look at the variable stars here, just the variable stars. So no suspected variable stars, no non-variable stars. Let's just look at the variable stars, and let's order it by variable star type. So we just looked at that long list of variable star types. So let's just order this by a variable star type. And let's see. Oh, there's all kinds of things that I've never actually looked at here. I've never actually looked at these plots. Ooh, let's do that. Let's look at an equatorial plot. Okay, they're all, wow. So look at them all. Is there a way to zoom in here? Don't know. So obviously this is the constellation of Libra, right? Which we know so well. And I guess how I'm interpreting this is that all these black points, all these dots here, maybe you can just barely see, those are all the variable stars known in that constellation. That's pretty insane. Let's look at the galactic plot. Okay, so that's just in galactic coordinates as opposed to equatorial coordinates. That's pretty cool. Not incredibly interesting, but pretty cool. Let's look at the actual list itself. So here you go, right? So just like in a lot of other things that I've shown you, right? Occultations, satellites, well, pretty much everything else. There's just this, I mean, whatever you want to get into, you will be quickly overwhelmed by just the sheer numbers, right? So if you want to get into observing variable stars, and the American Association of Variable Star Observers is an organization that does that, right? There are people who make measurements of some kind of variable stars, and they report back, and they have this huge database, right? So here are all the variable stars in the constellation of Libra, right? Sorted by variable type. So, we'd have to go back and look and see what exactly ACEPs are. We can do that. Have to go to the bottom here, though, and look at the variability types. But you can see this list. So let's see what ACEP is. We'll just ACEP. Anomalous Cepheids. Okay, stars with periods characteristic of comparatively long period RRAB variables, but comparably brighter. Okay, cool. Anyway, so here they are, right? And if they have information on their variability periods, they have that. So, this is like 1.01 days long, right? So it's going to vary between magnitude 11.78 and 12.38. Not quite sure what the V is there. If that's a visible wavelength, I'm not quite sure, because I'm not quite sure what CV means then either. Don't know. But that's sort of how to read this table, right? These are just the coordinates in the sky, the position of that star in the sky, constellation it's in. I'm not quite sure what AUID is. It's some kind of ID number, of course. Here's sort of the common name, right? Sort of a common name. And as I said, if they have any information on, how long one variability period is, they'll provide that, and it looks like it's in days. And then a magnitude range, if they know that also. Oftentimes they don't, right? For one reason or another, they don't. So, we'd have to investigate this a little bit more to really understand why it varies from, 6.97 to who knows what, right? We'd have to investigate that a little bit more. But let's go down and find a. I think the EA type are these eclipsing binary types. Let's find out. EA. Can I do a capital E, capital A? Is that that's gonna help? I think EA, yeah. So it's an Algol type eclipsing binary. E standing for eclipsing, A, I guess, for algol type. So let's just look at all the algol type eclipsing binary systems that vary in brightness. So here they all are, EA, EA, all of these are eclipsing binary stars, all of these. Look at them all. So there's a couple. There's a couple. You know, what'd be interesting is, and I would like to, can we, variable type, oh, that's order by. Man, I'd really like to be able to, I'm going to have to investigate this a little bit more. I might have to log in or something. But I would like to just get a list of all the EAs and then be able to plot their period to see how, you know, what kind of variability there is there. But let's just look at one of these. Let's actually look at Delta Libre. I'm just going to have to do a search for it here. There it is. Okay, so Delta Libre looks like it has a variability period of 2.327 days, and it goes from about magnitude 4.91 to 5.9. But see, this is a link. So you can actually click on that and get a little bit more information if they have it. So they actually are showing proper motion. Any other names? It has a bunch of other names, of course. Spectral type, that's kind of cool. And it is an A0 star, a lot like Vega, right? So you, yeah, very cool. And I assume that that is the spectral type of the primary star, not of the secondary star. Let's see. Then they have, you know, a little bit of extra information here. I'm not going to get into this too much. But I think one of the coolest things that they do is this ephemeris here. So this pops up a table that tells you when the start of the eclipse happens, when a mid-eclipse is, and when the end of the eclipse is. So I think this is very cool because, you know, if I want to go out and observe this eclipse, right, I like to know when. So I can look at all these dates and times, and these times, of course, are in UTC. This is the Julian date over here, and then this is the regular date. That has a term too, and then the UT time, right, hour and minute. So yeah, so this is really, really cool because you can actually plan your observations this way, right? And this is something that I am definitely interested in doing once I have a system that I know is actually going to work correctly and give me, you know, some accurate measurements of the brightnesses of these things. So I think this is very, very cool, right? And you can do this for any of these. Well, we're gonna have to go back, I guess. Look at Libra again. It does this timeout thing, which isn't a bad thing, especially as a guest, right? But we can do this for any of these, all these things. I guess I can't say all of them, but I would guess that most of these things, you know, we'd be able to click on here. I'm not quite sure what CSS is. Oh, it's the Catalina Sky Survey Periodic Variable Star Catalog. So cool. You know, the Catalina Sky Survey. I'm right next door to that. I'm just about well, as the crow flies, I'm probably about maybe 50 miles from there or so. That's on top of Mount Lemmon, just north of Tucson. So let's see, does this have an ephemeris? Ooh, this doesn't have an ephemeris. So there's not a lot of info on this, but it's looks like it's definitely some kind of a variable star. They have a period there at least, but I don't see an ephemeris here. So, oh well. Oh man. Yeah, I think as a guest, they're a little bit harsh to guests. Libra, variable star, variable type search. Okay, cool. Let's see. These guys here with sort of the more common names are definitely going to have, well, hopefully are going to have some kind of an ephemeris associated with them. Let's take a look here. Let's look at a couple more of these. More of the common names. Let's look at LR Libre. Yeah. So let's see. They also have a proper motion for that. A magnitude range. So, you know, this guy is pretty faint and not varying a lot, right? Going from 13.1 to 13.7 over what a 0.6 day period, 14 hours or so. But again, you know, you can look up the ephemeris and know exactly when this thing is going to be happening, which I think is very, very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, look, it's a little bit after the hour, and let's see. I'm catching up on the chat. Planetariums. Yeah, you know, our sun is characterized as a yellow dwarf. It's a G2 star. It's about as normal as you can possibly get. So yeah, they call it a yellow dwarf. Your local group is a lot classier than mine. Planetarium, that's cool. That's cool. Muddy Run Observatory. What a great name. Let's see. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop sharing so you can actually like see me reading the chat. I'm gonna pull up the chat here really quick. Catch up on the chat. Like to do that. Yeah. Yeah. If you're near a city, light pollution is definitely a thing. But you know, you can still do. You know, even in the middle of a city, there are still astronomical things. I mean, you're limited, right? You're definitely limited. But you know, wherever you are, you can do astronomical things, right? Because there are still things, you know, from any city, right? You can see the moon and Venus and Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, right? So you're still doing good there, right? You're limited, of course. You can see satellites, at least some, right? You can see a lot of the brighter meteors. So you know, there's a lot of astronomy that can be done anywhere. So you know, a darker place is preferred, but I will never tell you at all that it's like, you know, don't even bother if you live in a city. No, 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 no. There's a lot that can be done, you know, right in the middle of the city. No problem. No problem at all. You you don't have as many choices, but you still have quite a few. Um, let's see. Howdy. Yeah. Right. Right. As soon as Atta got got her scope, clouds just like that. That's exactly how the universe works. It's exactly. Um, so yeah, you know, that's kind of the neat thing about doing astronomy too, is that you sort of get more in tune with the weather, and you know, uh, as opposed to sort of you know just reacting to the weather, you sort of begin to participate with the weather, right? So very nice. Um, and yeah, filtering does help for sure. All right, well, cool. And yeah, you're going to spend megabucks on filters. that's that's how that goes too. All right, you guys. I think I'm going to get out of here for today. So thank you for coming in. A lot of you, you know, you're here every single day. I think that is very cool. Um, you can come in anytime. You are more than welcome. Make sure to spread the word. You know, Atta, when you go to this astronomy club, you know, feel free to mention this live stream, um, or not. You know, whichever you prefer. But yeah, you know, spread the word. I would definitely like to find more of my people. You are out there. I know you are. So, and you're watching right now. So, thanks for coming in, everybody. I will. Yeah, Bobby is doing a WWE event. There's some kind of pay-per-view. He's really into professional wrestling and all of that. So he's doing a some kind of a pay-per-view party. And Uncle Bill, uh, I hope, is resting. He said over on the Discord that he's been up since Friday. So you know, he's a ninja. He's just absolutely amazing. Hopefully he is getting some good rest. They are definitely missed, but you know, take care of yourself first. You know, this universe is fractal, right? So taking care of yourself is taking care of everything else. So you know, don't worry so much about everything else. Worry about yourself, and the rest of the universe will follow because it's fractal, right? So what's happening on one scale, right? On this small scale that we call, you know, my life. Um, if I take care of my life, then I'm going to take care of my universe as well. So, you know, take care of number one because that's really important. And the universe will follow because it's fractal, right? So, you know, what happens at this scale happens at all other scales, up and down. All right, take care, everybody, and I will see you on the spin, one spin of this planet. Well, actually, a little bit less now, right? We're at a little less than 23 hours from now. 2 hours UTC every single day. Take care, everybody, and I will see you later. Bye.